The Colorado GOP's largest fundraiser of the year, featuring controversial Trump advisor Steve Bannon, is off to a predictably heated start tonight in Colorado Springs. We've already seen some heated exchanges between attendees and protesters, and it appears at least 2 people have been hit by cars outside of the venue. There's heightened security, of course, at the Phil Lawn Music Hall tonight, where former Trump advisor turned right-wing media personality Steve Bannon is scheduled to speak shortly. Probably for good reason, progressive groups in the Springs rallied dozens of people to protest as attendees showed up. Counter-protesters also showed up as well. 2 people just outside the event appeared to have been hit by 2 separate cars turning into the event within the last hour. Things are developing quickly. Colorado Springs police are on the scene, but they say they haven't cited anyone, and there are, quote, no injuries to report. This is a chaotic end to the Colorado GOP chair Dave Williams' term. The party is electing new leadership tomorrow. She got her dream job with the government, lost it in the layoff, started to file for unemployment, only to get her job back again. All of that in less than 4 months. Federal workers are feeling the whiplash of the Trump administration's government cuts and court battles. Here's Jennifer Meckles.
What is your employment status
as of today?
Today, I am technically employed again by the federal government and the Department of Energy.
It has been a wild few months for Randy Nusser, hired November 17th, laid off February 13th, then reinstated March 14th after a judge found legal problems with how the Trump administration conducted mass firings of probationary workers.
How did that feel to get that phone call?
It was emotional. I won't lie, I cried. However, after that first week of a little bit of happiness over this, it kind of wore off to the dread again of knowing that this is just temporary.
Do you trust that that is a long-term return to work, or do you proceed as if you may still lose this job?
I have no trust. To be honest, I'm going to be blunt. I have no trust. I know what they're trying to do to reduce the workforce, so it's just a matter of time before they terminate us again.
She got a small amount of unemployment.
I have not spent it. It is still sitting on the same prepaid debit card that it came on.
A smart and careful move, because the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment says any federal worker who gets their job back with back pay may have to pay the state back for any benefits received during that time.
It must feel like whiplash for federal employees right now.
I don't know what to expect in any given week or even any given day, any given hour. Things with this administration change so quickly.
Randy was a probationary worker because she'd only just started that job a few months before the layoffs. That also made her eligibility for unemployment tricky. She really hadn't worked long enough to qualify for any real amount of money. Now, since she is expecting more rockiness ahead, she's trying to figure out if her eligibility, if she should return to work and then gets laid off again in a few months, what that would look like, because this Trump case is truly working through the courts at this point. No surprise, Mark, that she is also starting to think of backup plans because there's just so much uncertainty and she needs to work, so she can't count on a job that may not be there again.
Well, and working for the federal government for so many years was perhaps one of the most stable things that you could do as a job. But we know that there are almost 40,000, roughly 40,000 federal workers in the state of Colorado that are all feeling this same back and forth whiplash right now.
Yeah, whiplash is really the best word that people have used to describe it, because got a job, don't have a job, maybe have a job, maybe don't have a job. It's tough.
A lot of back and forth. Jennifer Meckles, appreciate it. Thank you. So all of these federal layoffs and funding cuts are happening as Colorado is trying to scale back its own budget. This week, state lawmakers released their first draft of a plan to overcome a $1 billion funding shortfall. The list is long for what's on the chopping block. Here's a couple of examples. Transportation grants and road safety fees for local governments. A property tax deferral program allowing homeowners to put off some tax bills until they sell their home. A kidney disease task force. Some education grants and student workforce training programs. And guess what? A lot more. In return for those cuts, the state won't borrow funding from schools. They also won't cut Medicaid funding, at least not yet. Lawmakers on the Joint Budget Committee say the state can't keep up with rising costs, and some changes to Medicaid programs might be in the works next year. The budget still has to be approved by the state legislature. It could go through a lot of changes before that. Next week will be a big week for all of this. Adams 12 five-star schools is blaming state leaders for having to cut around 150 positions because of a budget shortfall that they're having themselves. School districts announced its budget plan for next year, which includes more than $27 million in cuts. The cuts will cause larger class sizes, fewer staff for gifted programs and libraries, and cuts to social emotional learning. It could also lead to fewer elective class options that students could take. Today, the superintendent there blamed the legislature for not adequately funding public education and leaving it to the districts to fill the gaps as costs go up.
We've got a broken system, and our legislature refuses to deal with it. The people of the state of Colorado have refused to deal with it because, frankly, even though some of the decisions our legislators are making are not the best ones in my view, their hands are tied. They don't have enough money to do what it really would take to provide an adequate education in Colorado, which would be another $3.5 to $4.1 billion of funding.
Superintendent, who you just heard from there, is also against Democratic Governor Jared Polis's proposal to change the school funding formula. That proposal would switch counting students based on a 4-year average to just a single-year count, which would mean less money for districts with declining enrollment. Lawyers for the well-known Colorado immigration activist Jeanette Vizguerra say that she was detained by immigration agents as part of retaliation for her well-known activism. Vizguerra famously sought sanctuary in churches to avoid deportation during President Trump's first term. In federal court this afternoon, her attorney said ICE retaliated against her in violation of her First Amendment rights. Our Spencer Soisher was in the courtroom and joins us live now from downtown Denver. Spencer, her family and supporters are making it clear why they think ICE went after her.
Yeah, they just had a press conference here a couple of minutes ago, and they made similar claims to what we heard in court today. They say agents ambushed Jeanette outside of the Target store where she worked, put her in shackles around her waist, and then told her, quote, "We finally got you." A federal judge halted Vizguerra's deportation last week after questioning the legality of the order to remove her. Vizguerra has successfully evaded deportation for years, winning multiple stays on deportation orders. Federal prosecutors have argued they have the right to deport her based on a reissued deportation order from a few years ago. Vizguerra's attorneys were supposed to argue against that today in court. Instead, they delayed those arguments and told the judge they want to add First Amendment violations to the case. That's based on that alleged "we finally got you" comment.
She went to all these protests, she went and tried to help all these people, and that's specifically why they targeted her, because she was out there talking, she was, pushing against all these problems.
Now, they made another argument for their First Amendment case. I want to show you this. It's based off of tweets from the ICE Denver Twitter account, which usually refers to people that they've detained and talks about things that they've been detained with, perhaps maybe for an attempted homicide or for carrying fentanyl in some cases, something maybe an illegal possession of a firearm. They say it points to her targeting again there because she has none of those things. She has no violent criminal history like many of the people that are being posted on that page. They say that proves that they were looking for her and targeting her because she's an activist. Mark?
Yes, Spencer, immediately after she was detained, we saw a lot of protesters going to the ICE facility in Aurora to try and protest to get her out. We've heard, though, that they are going to continue doing that.
Yeah, they said today they plan to have more rallies. They want people to show up for their rallies. They plan to make more calls, but also to be patient, that they've only got one crack at this and they want to make sure they get it right. That's part of why they did what they did today in court.
Spencer Soisher, appreciate it. Thank you. We want to say a quick thank you to you as well for all you've done this week to support families facing eviction and homelessness. Here's Kyle with an update on our 250th micro-giving campaign.
250 weeks is a long time to do anything, let alone do the thing that you've done for 250 weeks, which is to give to a different nonprofit cause somewhere in Colorado. 250 weeks of a promise kept, that as long as you are willing to keep giving, I will keep finding nonprofits that will put our dollars to good use. And that's how you've raised $14 million since 2020. I come to you this week with folks in a tough situation. 36 families that need help making rent payments so they don't get evicted. They've been homeless before, and an eviction's only going to make it tougher for them to find housing in the future.
This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign, your 250th, supports the nonprofit Family Tree. Family Tree helps these families with rental assistance, along with extensive case management and support to help those families out of poverty. Folks like Carrie and Alonzo, who who came through their supportive housing program. Family Tree was awarded federal funding to cover the rental assistance in January. Then the administration changed and the feds went radio silent on them. So Family Tree's been scrambling to come up with $55,000 to cover the next month's rent while they wait on the federal funding. Good news, this week they finally heard from the feds, so they're optimistic this money will come in, but they're prepared to cover the rent if that doesn't happen.
This could all get sorted out, and if so, great. Then the donations we raise would go to support Family Tree's extensive anti-poverty work in Colorado. Housing specifically is how they would use our dollars. If the federal funding does not come, then we can be the reason that they keep those families housed for one more month while Family Tree figures out what they can do to avoid evictions. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. Your $14 million in micro-giving proves the power of small donations. You know the deal. As always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us rolling. More than 4,500 of you have signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. That's meant we have started your recent micro-giving campaigns with more than $30,000 in donations a week. You can use that same QR code or text to get there.
Coming up next, our neighbors to the west are banning fluoride in drinking water. It's a rejection of decades of research, which started right here in Colorado. And we hit the basketball court for an answer to our favorite Friday question. What's your good news? Next. All right, Corey, you say something that a lot of people like. You say, it's real nice outside, and it's been real nice outside these last couple days, and now you're here to tell us it's kind of over?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye to those 70-degree days. I think they were real nice, too. I get very little complaints out of 70s. The 70s probably won't be here again for another 10 to 12 days because this storm coming tonight kind of kicks off a whole new pattern. Here's the rain chances as we go through tomorrow. Now, this not all doom and gloom. We could get some significant rain overnight into about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then it may leave us alone during the daytime hours here for the most part. So you could sneak in those outdoor activities with the exception of maybe baseball because you can't play on a wet field, but everything else might be go here. And then the second wave will get here by about 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and that's probably going to be the more significant wave coming through all the way overnight into the morning hours. By about 5 o'clock in the morning, those rain chances really start to get limited. And again, Sunday afternoon, it looks like this storm might leave us alone. So the temperatures tomorrow, we may even get up to 60 degrees because of that opening in between the two waves here. So really the day tomorrow, not really awful, considering that we'll get a significant amount of rain overnight. So anything that you can use there with those, with the wet ground should be okay there. And then once we get into the rest of this week here, we're going to introduce more of a normal April pattern with temperatures in the 50s and 60s with elevated rain chances daily.
Corey, thank you. Well, you soon may be able to tell where people are from, or where they live at least, based on how nice their teeth look. Utah will become the first state in the U.S. to ban adding fluoride to drinking water. Health benefits, of course, of fluoridated water has been well documented, and it's been in the American water system for generations. Utah's Republican governor signed that ban into effect yesterday. It will now be up to pharmacists to prescribe fluoride supplements for patients. According to NBC News, since 2010, more than 150 towns and counties have voted to keep fluoride out of the water systems. The latest ban comes as new U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said that he wants all water systems to start removing fluoride. So this is the part where it all comes back to Colorado, as it usually always does. You can actually trace fluoride in water back to Colorado Springs. Dr. Frederick McKay moved to the Springs in 1901 and noticed that people there had stained brown teeth, but fewer cavities than everyone else. His research eventually traced the cause to the fluoride in the drinking water in Colorado Springs, which occurs naturally in the water in the Pikes Peak region because of all the granite there. Colorado Springs Utilities says fluoride levels in the Pikes Peak region are so high that they don't actually have to add any more to the drinking water. Instead, they dilute their drinking water with other water that they import from the Continental Divide, other parts of Colorado, to bring the fluoride concentration down to recommended levels. The more you know. Just ahead, our favorite Friday tradition collides with another tradition in Lakewood. This week's good news at an annual basketball tournament for Native youth. And a reminder, you can watch all of Next streaming each night at 6 p.m. on 9 News Plus. And Next is also now a podcast each weeknight. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Wasn't too long ago, the CU Buffs football team went 1-11, and you'd be laughed out of Boulder if you thought that they'd be bringing home a Heisman anytime soon. That feels like forever ago at this point, though. Today, CU rewarded the man responsible for putting Colorado back in the center of the college football world. Deion Sanders is here to stay, and he got paid too. Today, he agreed to a $54 million extension to keep him in Boulder for another 5 years. But the real money is all the cash Coach Prime is bringing in for the Buffs. The Athletic reports ticket sales rose more than $31 million the year that Sanders started, up from $13 million the year before. Colorado nationally relevant again. Sanders seems to be on every TV commercial, and CU football is fun again. Prime got his contract, and the rest of us who want to see relevant football won as well. Keeping in sports, forget March Madness. The real basketball showdown this month is the All-West Native American Basketball Classic here in Denver. For 40 years, teams across the West have shown up to Colorado to participate. We stop by with our favorite weekly question. What's your good news?
Bill Hanslick, and the good news of the day is Gold Crown Foundation has helped with the All-West Native American Tournament. 40th year. This year, we're going to have over 1,000 kids, 15 states, 36 tribes.
I'm from Menominee Nation.
I'm here with the Oklahoma Choctaws.
Representing the Grovon tribes.
And my good news of the day is we got the win to start off the day.
First year it was held in 1986. I played in 1987.
And my good news of the day is my mom showed up out of nowhere.
My good news of the day is both of our teams got their first wins of the tournament.
My good news of the day is this is my first time here.
I enjoy just all these Native athletes just trying to reach the same goal in life.
And the whole idea behind the tournament was getting those kids to come off reservation for a time period.
We just got the call 2 days ago to go, so it's pretty last minute.
Getting to see other teams and how other people play and just getting to experience new things.
Probably dunking on someone.
I want our student athletes to take away from this being able to size themselves up against good competition across the nation.
Just meet more people, meet new people, get my name out there more.
You never know who's watching you, so you just always want to play your hardest at all times, no matter what.
Go Oklahoma Choctaws!
Look at those dunks. I could never do that. Antonia with the feedback. Thank you. You're welcome. We'll be right back. Some feedback on both sides of the aisle of whether you like me or not. Joanne and Dana say, Mark, you're doing a wonderful job, very professional and sharp. Someone on YouTube says, where's Kyle? I love the stories, but I subscribe to Hear Kyle. Well, thank you for both the comments. Kyle's back on Monday, but thank you for letting me hang out with you over these last couple of days. It's been a lot of fun. We'll see you next time.